Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about some examples from our handout for section 2.1 weighted voting. And let's look at this first example. Consider the weighted voting system as follows. We have the quota, which is represented by Q, and there are 6 players. They have 6, 4, 3, 3, 2, and 2 votes. All right, first we want to know what is the smallest value that the quota Q can take. And let's remember Q, the quota is always larger, are always at least the majority. So let's first figure out what the total number of votes is, and that is a total of 20. All right, which means that the majority is 11. So Q has to be at least 11, meaning that 11 is the smallest value Q can take. Now part B, what is the largest value that the quota Q can take? Well, Q has to be less than or equal to 20. So 20 is the largest value. It can't be more than the number of votes or it's unachievable. Part C, what is the value of the quota if at least 3/4 of the votes are required to pass a motion? All right. So 3/4 of 20, of means that we multiply, and that gives us 15. So at least 3/4 means that it would be okay for Q to be exactly 15. So that would be, the quota there is 20. So we could actually just write Q is equal to 15 because they're asking what is the exact value of the quota in this case. And part D, what is the value of the quota if more than 3/4 of the votes are required to pass a motion? So the difference here is we have more than rather than at least. So at least means it could be 3/4, which is 15. More than means that it has to be more than 15. In that case, it would be 16. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next example. This time we have a weighted voting system with 3 players, 8, 5, and 3 votes, and we want to answer a series of questions about it. What is the smallest value of Q for which all 3 players have veto power? Well, let's look at each player one at a time. So let's look at veto power for P1 first. Well, without P1, the most votes that the other people can get is 5 plus 3, which is 8. Which means for P1 to have veto power, Q would need to be 9. Without P1, they can't get that 9. All right, now let's do the same thing for P2. So without P2, that 5 is out. So 8 and 3 gives us 11, which means that without P2, they can only reach 11 votes. So veto power is given at 1 higher than that, which is 12. And for P3, so this 3 is out. 8 and 5 is 13. So without P3, the highest they can reach is 13. So veto power will be given at 14. All right. So the smallest value of Q for which all 3 players have veto power is going to be this largest number at 14 because they can't reach it without P3, but they also can't reach it without P2 or P1. So Q is equal to 14 is our answer there. What is the smallest value of Q for which player 2 has veto power but player 3 does not? Well, that's going to be this one that we found here at Q equal to 12. Because without player 2, without their 5 votes, the remaining 2 can only get to 11. So player 2 does have veto power. But without player 3, well, the other 2 can get up to 13 votes. So player 2 has veto power, but player 3 does not. All right. What power does player 3 have if Q, the quota, is equal to 13? Well, let's think about this. So if the quota is equal to 13, let's think about without player 3. P1 and P2, together with their votes, can get up to that quota of 13. So player 3 actually has no power here. And that is because P1 and P2 have to agree to pass a motion. And player 3's vote doesn't matter. Or player 3's votes. Because, let's look up here at our votes. The first two, 8 and 5, can get the quota of 13 without player 3. And then, no matter what player 3 does, you can't get the quota any other way besides those 8 and those 5, right? 8 and 3 is too little. 5 and 3 is too little. So player 3 doesn't actually have any say. So player 3 has absolutely no power in this scenario. And that is it for today.